Hey good people, welcome back to Beauty in the Frizz. My name is Kara. Whether you're new or returning, thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with me today. Today is another video that's all about, you already know, eyeshadow. So love for eyeshadow. And today I'm going to share with you some palettes that I think are just so unique to my collection. I think there are 15. So if you want to see 15 interesting, unique eyeshadow color stories that I think are just so neat and beautiful. Keep watching this video. Let me know what you think. And if makeup is your therapy, if it makes you happy and you really love eyeshadow, definitely consider subscribing and joining the community because I would love to have you back. All right, let's get started.
This is too close.
Interesting, unique color stories. These are not going to be in any order, but these are the palettes that came to mind. Number one is Tiny Marvels. I'm going to do these by brand, I think. Now this is by Sydney Grace. We are no stranger to Tiny Marvels and all of its yummy goodness and uniqueness. I love this palette so much, y'all. Like, this palette is still going strong with just one of the best in my collection. What I love about this palette is you've got this row here that's like springtime, but at the same time you've got these deep shades that are great for pretty much any other season. I'm thinking more so fall. And then you have this duochrome here. I know we probably get tired of hearing about Tiny Marvels, but people talk about it so much because it is so interesting and unique. I think that Mel Thompson did such a great job just pulling together her love for like her creepy crawlies and nature, and just really putting that in the palette. This is the palette where the packaging really matches the palette. I'm not talking about any palettes in particular, but I'm just saying, like, all of the inspo for the palette, like, you see that in the inside to me, and that's what makes me love it even more. Most of the palettes that I picked for this video, it's just the level of variety of looks that you can create within it that really makes these stories unique, and just the ability to combine colors that you may not normally put together. But like, this palette has a way of having colors that you wouldn't normally combine, and then also having some very wearable looks. So this is number one. Not like it's the most unique, it's just number one. I could not rank these, I don't think. So this is just, I love this palette so much. So yeah, I think I'm gonna keep this like by brand if I have more than one in a brand. So number two, Sydney Grace Enduring Love. This palette really snuck up on me as just one of my favorites as well. Y'all know I'm gonna have Sydney Grace on here. They're like my number one eyeshadow formula. This palette really did not speak to me when I saw it on the website. Tiny Marvels was the first palette I bought. It just didn't speak to me. You have some standout shades here that are sneaky good, like the shade Elizabeth, which is this, I don't know, berry shade here. The shade Deanna, I love this shade so much, y'all. It's like grungy goodness, okay? You have the shade Ruth, another pop of color, and this is like my type of blue because it's not super bright. All of the shimmers in this palette actually are so good, and it's just, they just complement each other so well. I don't know what it is about this palette, y'all. Let me know, but this palette is bomb. I don't know if people think of Enduring Love as a grungy palette, but you can do grunge, you can do subtle, you could even do soft glam. Like, this palette is really versatile, but I feel like upon looking at it, you don't get that. And I really had to like play with it. And when I did a video with 4 looks with this palette, I was like, wow, like, this palette can do some stuff, you know? So this is one that I really want to pull out and play with a little more. I was gonna say in the fall, but right now, I mean, why wait till the fall? So that's number 2. So number 3 is going to go to none other than Quintessence. For some reason, this was the palette that I was least interested in, but it's the palette I love the most. It really is. It's just so galactic goodness, y'all. Like, that's the only way I can describe this palette. Now, I did get this in the light version because I really loved like the gray matte that was here. This shade Parallax, which is kind of a really light, almost like it's not a lavender gray. I guess it's just a light gray. But this palette, it just reminds me of the galaxy. It reminds me, once again, of the packaging. I feel like out of all three palettes, this one embodies the outside cover work the most. And I actually have this pulled out because I did say I was gonna go back and do 2 or 3 looks with each palette. Yes? Sure.
I love the white cheddar Doritos.
Oh, you would like me to get you some white cheddar Doritos? Okay, I'll get them for you. I'm getting them right now. See, I had to do that because he only has on underwear. Once again, let me get his white cheddar Doritos and then I can finish talking about Quintessence. All right, that should buy me like 5 more minutes. Okay, so some shades I really like in this palette, besides the 2 mattes here, Celestial Bloom. Like, look at that. Look how beautiful that is. This is like out of this world type shimmer. The Milky Way, this is gorgeous. That's like a beautiful duochrome. I could swatch this whole palette. Borealis, it's green. It's just, I don't have anything like this all together in one palette. And I know that some people felt as though the Temptalia palettes look the same, but with me having all 3, they are not the same at all. I think each palette gives off a different vibe. So out of the 3, I'm just so surprised that this one was my favorite. I don't know why upon seeing this, I wasn't like into it as much, but I'm into it. I'm really into it. So palette number 4 is gonna go to none other than Mama Pat. And this is Mothership 3 Subversive. I think Subversive is probably the most unique Mothership. It's definitely not Mothership 9. Sorry. So I'm sorry. I'm making little snide jokes every time I can about Utopian Dream, but that's just what I'm feeling. Subversive is just that palette. This was my favorite palette, and then Midnight Sun kind of took over. The special shades in this palette are really, really nice. And here they are. Those are the special shades. I really love this one here. And then you have like these other shimmers, like this one. It's kind of like a metallic gray with these like purple flecks. You have Night Creature. I mean, these are just beautiful shades. And you know, when I think about the Mothership palettes, a lot of the Mothership palettes are, you know, if you cover up the special shades, they're neutral palettes for the most part. You know, Subliminal, the first one is more cool toned, but then when you look at the rest of them, they're just neutrals. Whether they are like pinky neutrals or like warm or cool, they're neutrals, and then the special shades. This, when you cover up the special shades, you still have something that's a bit different. And that's what I like. And I like that you have brown and you have black together. You know, her other palettes are kind of like one or the other, but this one has it all. I don't know, when I think about this, I think of like something you would wear for like Thriller or something like that. It just reminds me of that type of palette. Yeah, Subversive, I definitely had to include. I thought about Decadence as well, because Decadence is another really unique one because it's all shimmers. But the color story here is something that I don't have, and I just felt like it belonged on the list. Number 5 goes to a palette I just tried, and this is by Eunique Beauty, and this is the Roots palette. I went through my collection after I did the video on this, which I'll link, and I tried to find comparisons, but I could not find anything that compared to this palette. The other 2 in the collection, I had a bunch of things that I could dupe it, but this one I could not. And let's try not to let the shades fall out. But this, I don't have anything with like this royal blue and the gray and the black, the yellow. Then you've got these two very, very interesting textures of shimmers. They are not pressed glitters. They are a bit crumbly, but and you'll see in the review, using this with a mixing medium really helps to liquefy them. And the versatility, like if you like the textured shimmers, you can do that. If you like them more smooth, you could do that. So I thought this palette was really different. And out of the entire collection, this would be the one that I would have gone for as far as uniqueness. So here's that gold shimmer. Like, look how metallic and foiled that is. And here's the blue one. So as you can see, if you compare them to the Pat McGrath special shades, like look how wet looking these are. So, you know, because these almost have a similar tone. And I just thought the color combination really makes for some interesting eye looks. So definitely had to include this. I have nothing like this. Palette number 6 is gonna go to an oldie but goodie in my collection. One of my probably top 10 palettes. This is the Jackie Aina palette with Anastasia Beverly Hills. Not sure if this palette is still for sale, but if you don't have it, this is one palette where I would say, get this palette. This is such a good palette. When I first saw this palette, I didn't think anything about it. I really didn't. And then one day I was like, wait, this palette is dope. Look at how many looks you can get out of this palette. Like, we can go neutral and we can go pink in the same palette, and we can go purple. Like, look at this little 6-pan right here. You can even make little quads within. I mean, this palette makes some great looks. There's some really, really good shades in here. And the shade Sponsor, it's that brown green duochrome flip that a lot of indie brands do. It's very similar to the shade Scarab here in Tiny Marvels. I think this one has more of a, you can see that brown or that reddish brown a little bit more. But having a shade like that in an ABH palette, I don't know, I thought that was great. But the depth of this palette, I love, and I think that Jackie Aina really kept that in mind. Given her skin tone, like, she wanted something that everybody could wear. And I have seen deeper complexions as well as fair complexions and everything in between wear this palette, and it looks good on everybody. I don't know if there are a lot of palettes that just look good on everybody, but I would put this palette in that category. All of the shades blend. I love this shade Lituation. You know, I love these like kind of taupey, purple leaning shades. I think that's great. But then you have like Wiggley's, which is like a metallic red, all in the same palette. And there were no glitters in here. It just, I just think there's a little something for everyone in this palette, whether you're a girly girl and you want pink, or, you know, you only want pink sometimes and you're more of a browns, neutrals, everything in here. So this definitely had to go on the list for unique color stories. And if you can get your hands on it, because I've seen it on sale. This is one to add. I don't care if it's old. So that was number 6. Palette number 7. And I hope that at some point they will re-release this palette. This is by Notoriously Morbid. This is Path of the Darkside, and it's a Star Wars themed palette. I don't really have anything like this. The standout is this multi-chrome. It is Season of the Sith. This is like that black to red shift. I definitely don't have this. Now, this palette is gone, but Terra Moons has a shade called Blood Moon. I don't have that shade, but that's the closest I've seen to this. It may be a dupe, but these shades are just really unique. Like the glitter flecks in this one, it's so deep and dark. Everything that I think she was trying to accomplish with this palette, she definitely did. And then you have this bright matte red. Like, hi. Like, it's just this brown, this dirty brown, y'all. I do not have anything like this. I don't know when anything else like this would ever come out again. Had to include this one, you guys. Palette number 8 is gonna go to Kaleidos Club Nebula. This palette is just, I don't even know what to say about it. It's just really a truly unique color story, and I think Angelica did a wonderful job planning it out. You see how like the outside meets the inside. It's like, this is this, you know what I mean? I love this bright green matte and the shimmers, you guys. This shade Nova, it's like that iridescent, just, it's gorgeous. It's blue. You can make some really interesting combinations. Like if you want to combine some of these reds with the blues and greens, you know, and then you can do just some little cool tone looks. I just think it's really interesting and inspiring. I'm not always looking for that in an eyeshadow palette. Like when you pick some eyeshadow palettes, you know, you have some that are your go-to. Like, you know, I could put this with this if I'm trying to do something. But the artist in me and that artistry side of me, something like this is inspiring. But I would say this is one of the best that has come out this year. I definitely had to include that. And you know, when I think about my other Kaleidos palettes, this one is something else. So palette number 9, another new one, goes to none other than It's Freakin' Bats. By far, this is not my favorite eyeshadow formula, I can tell y'all that. But this color story, y'all, even if you don't like these colors, you can't deny that this is special. You know what I'm saying? Like you might be like, these are not my type, I don't know what to do with them. I'm sure that when you saw this palette, you did a double take, like, that is really interesting. And it is. For me, it's worth having in my collection. And if you don't have it or you don't like the formula, I definitely think it's worth duping this color story. Like I was still kind of thinking about doing it just so, you know, if I can't get these shimmers to do what I need them to do, just maybe finding some. But I did talk to somebody and they were like, you know, this one's hard to do. It's hard because just the tone, like this lime green here, this periwinkle blue, like you're gonna have to look for them. You're not gonna be like, oh, I can get this, because I've already started looking and I haven't found what I'm looking for yet. So this is a really, really nice story, you guys. The looks that I came up with were beautiful. Can't deny the looks that you've seen with this palette. So Butte Bean, like just the inspiration for the palette and just for her to be able to put these together like this, I just think was genius. It definitely deserves a spot on the Eunique palette list. Okay, y'all, so palettes 10 and 11, we got to get into one of my favorite brands. I know y'all probably like, why haven't you mentioned them already? So y'all know Melt. Y'all know, I didn't even know how to narrow this down. First of all, I'm using palettes that I have. Now y'all know I don't have Muerte. We don't need to talk about it. We don't. But obviously if I had that, that would have been on my list. 10 goes to the Blueprint. I don't know what it is about blue and brown together. Now, you know, this was rehoused from one of their stacks. I don't know how they chose to put these together. Like, to be honest with you, I just love it. Now, when I did my video on this, I think what I did was I did a blue look, I did a neutral look, and then I mixed the blue and the brown. Like blue and brown together, y'all, looks so good. I just don't know how they came up with it. And I think it's really unique. And the quality of the shimmers and the mattes, I never have an issue with the mattes, but the quality of the shimmers in this palette, they work just fine. That one's a little chalky. But I really enjoyed the looks that I came up with in this palette. Oh my God, this shade Hot Wire, y'all. This is almost like the one that's in Brunette, I think, kind of. I love that shade. I even love like how they did the packaging, because they show you how You know, they have the stacks on here, and this was like rehoused into the palette. It was like a renovation type theme, and I just thought that was, I thought it was really thoughtful. The color story of Millennial Pinks is great too, with the pink and gray. I haven't used it yet, but I love that one. But I have to put these two as number 11, and this is the Beetlejuice collection. I'm so curious about what Melt is going to do for this holiday season, because you know, it's just always different than what anyone else is doing. You know, them coming out with a Beetlejuice collection for holiday. I was gonna say that this waiting room palette was the closest thing that I have to the Notoriously Morbid palette, but it's really no comparison just because of the multi-chromes in here. Now Melt, you got to work with Melt, you know, but you can't deny their color stories. Now this might be a little dark and deep for you and a little, you know, a little bit much, but I'm gonna tell you, when I combined both of these together, the looks were just, they were amazing. That's how I feel. I just thought it was so interesting. Now, I know some people weren't happy because with some of the shades, like in actually both of the palettes, there are only some subtle differences. So on the eye, they may look similar, but I just thought this whole thing was interesting. Like, I thought it really embodied Beetlejuice, you know, it embodied the movie, the colors, the overall tones that you saw in the movie. I just thought it was a great idea. I mean, I never would have thought of that. So the creativity and the inspiration of these palettes was definitely there. And you know, for some people, they're not going to appreciate the subtle differences in the shade, because honestly, I don't know if I appreciate the subtle differences in the shades, because they're just really, really subtle. See, and I was like, maybe they could have edited this all down into one palette, but I don't know. I like the two palettes. Maybe they could have done like 2 6 pans or something like that. Like, they may not have needed 8. Maybe they could have done 2 6 pans and still embodied it. But this collection is just, was crazy. You won't take these from me. That's how I feel. Like, these are, I just love these. And I could go on and on about Melt. I could go about Gemini. I could go into some of the other Smoke Sessions and the other palettes, but, and Rust. Oh my God. But let's just move on. All right, palette number 12 is gonna go to none other than Natasha Denona Triochrome. This is my palette, y'all. This is my palette now. Y'all see a little change right here. I did take out, I don't know what shade it was, Vertex. It was just too light. I was like, don't nobody need that. And I put the blue in here just because I just felt like that would be a real asset. Now this blue came from Circo Loco. So I just thought that that would really like just add just another dynamic to the palette. But even if I had kept that original shade in there, it would have still been on the list, because I thought this palette was just great. It's like grungy pastel. How many grungy pastel palettes do you see? And then all you need are these 3 shimmers. Like, you don't need a whole lot, you know? And for anybody that's trying or wants to try duochromes or grunge, this is like a great intro. Number one, these are actually really nice duochromes, okay? They're smooth, they're shimmery. And you know, other brands may have more of the shift that you can see, like, you know, like if you take like Cleona, for example, or something like that. But everybody doesn't want all that. You know, sometimes those shifts make your eyes look dirty. You know, for some people, I like the dirty look, but I'm just saying for some people, it just might be too much. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you just shop mainstream, it just might be doing too much for you. So this, I think, is a perfect start into grungy eye looks. And surprisingly, as light as some of these shades are, they show up really nicely. I can't remember what shade was here, but it just, I told y'all, when shades make me mad, they have to go now. I spend too much money to be looking at stuff that I don't want to look at. Look at these again, y'all. Y'all see the shift in these shades? So, you know, the thing about the Natasha Denona duochromes is that somebody that's not experienced in working with indie shadows and having to manipulate them or change the base or do that, these are gonna be easy to use. You know what I'm saying? Then maybe you wanna work with Cleona or Davina. Well, neither one of those are hard to work with, but you know what I'm saying? If you wanna, this is like the intro. This is like your gateway palette. I really, really do appreciate this palette. Like this shade Scrap, it's like dirty green. Love that. Grungy pastel palette. This is the only one I know of, to be honest. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep the blue in here, but it's gonna stay for now. I might be changing it out. Who knows? Who knows? But the rest of the palette is gonna stay. Triochrome, y'all. Yes, 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 yes. Don't sleep on Triochrome. Now, could she have made this $65? Yeah, she could have. Secretly, a lot of them she could just go ahead and make $65 because nobody have $129 to be. Just saying. Number 13, we on 13. All right, we're going into Alien Cosmetics now. Now, y'all know Alien has a lot of creative palettes, but I just pulled out 2. Now, the first palette you may not have ever seen before. This was the very first palette that I purchased from Alien Cosmetics. This was a holiday palette. Y'all, I purchased this because I felt like it was as close to Muerte as I was going to get. And this was my intro to the brand. Look at this, y'all. This was the first time I had ever tried any of these wet shimmers. And I was just down the rabbit hole with Alien after that. My camera cut off talking about the maximum recording time had been reached. Reach these. This was the first time I had tried any of those wet looking shimmers. Not that one, but these 3 down here. And I love the berry shades in here. I love that you have a red, you got a bright blue, you got a pastel blue. Is this a duochrome? Ooh, I think this is. Hold on, let's see. Look at that one. I just thought there was some really unique shades in this palette. Like, this palette was bomb. I don't know if any of y'all had this palette or got this palette, but yeah, this palette was the business. Look at this blue, y'all. Why do I hear commotion out there? It's just gorgeous. Love the artwork on this too. But you ate them last night. But you ate the Starburst last night. I'm not going to the store.
I have to get some more.
I'm not getting any more.
We're out.
We're out. That was a treat. I'm not going to the store.
I have to get some more.
I'm not getting any more is what I'm trying to tell you. There's other candy. Did you go look and see if there's some other candy? Hey, 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 come get the door. Oh, he said he feel angry. He the one that ate all the Starbursts. Y'all probably seen it in the other video. He ate them. I'll link that too. All right, y'all, staying with Alien Cosmetics. Palette number 14 is gonna go to Fairy Frolic, y'all. Oh, now there's no chocolate. He want chocolate too.
Where's the chocolate?
I don't know if we have chocolate.
I want some candy.
You know what? You have a sweet tooth. How about a sandwich? Would you like a sandwich? No, would you like a sandwich?
No. I don't want.
Oh my gosh, your heart.
I'm sorry.
Your heart is gonna come out when you do that. It's too much. Yeah, take a deep breath. Because it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Take a deep breath.
Please. It's not worth it, like getting that upset over some chocolate. I don't know, Marky. When I'm done this, I'll come look and see if I can find you a piece of chocolate. It's too much. So my time is coming to a close, so luckily we're almost done. Fairy Frolic is another very, very interesting palette. Yes, as soon as I'm done. Give me 5 minutes. You can't give me 5 minutes? Okay, thanks. Very interesting color story. Again, you've got grunge, you've got green, then you've got purple here. Look at this shade right here. I hear him out there rummaging for chocolate, like, and there is no chocolate. He ate it all. This shade right here isn't all I ever wanted. Look at that. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Beautiful. I just love the variety with this palette. I love this like mauve matte here and this little pink sugar type shimmer here. It's just really pretty, but it reminds me of like Fairy and then like the forest, you know, with the greens. I don't know if this pre-order is sold out or is sold out for right now, but I know she keeps bringing this one back.
Can you have that chocolate?
Yeah, can you let me do one more palette?
Please.
I have one more palette left to talk about, okay? No, they about to be mad because they about to work out with me. I'm about to do my trap step aerobics. That's like the best aerobics ever, and it's $10 a month. And it's so great. All you need is a step. If you like trap music, you know what I'm saying? And I hook it up to my Bluetooth. It's like the club, for real. And you burn a lot of calories. They about to get busy. Palette number 15 is a palette I have not even touched. Not even tried to brand yet, but I'm so excited. It is none other than Lunar Beauty Moonspell. I bought these off of Beauty Bay. This was my first order from Beauty Bay, and I had gotten 20% off. So I got Moonspell, I got Eternal Eclipse, and Strawberry Dreams. So I'm excited to try this brand.
Come on, Mama. Get in the chocolate.
I'm back. I found them some Easter candy, you know, them little coins. They pump. So Moonspell, y'all. I have not tried Lunar Beauty yet, but don't y'all think this is a unique color story? Why is my camera dark like that? What? This is so unique. I don't know I don't know what's happening. Okay, I don't know what's happening. But this, I'm gonna just show it from here. This is such a unique color story, y'all. Like, I just really like it. Like, you have this little pink and purple row, like that goes. Then you got like just kind of neutrally row, and then you kind of have the blues, and then you got like two of the green. I don't know, I'm just really feeling this palette a lot. And I hear a lot of people talk about how great this palette is and how great Lunar Beauty is, like, of a brand. So these palettes are definitely on my list to do some looks with. So let me know if, like, which one y'all want to see, because I have all three of them. Oh, this shade Mary. I love this one too. Oh my goodness. Like, and I just think it would be so cool to put like this Mary shade, like with this bright purple, or even with this green. Like, there's just no end to the looks I feel like you could get from this palette. So I'm really, really, really interested in trying it. It's just a whole unique little book theme. Okay, Manny MUA, I see you. Yeah, I am definitely inspired when I look at this one. So I got to do something with this coming up. I don't know. I gotta get that going. So anyway, you guys, that's it. I just wanted to get on here. I have seen some other content creators talk about unique color stories probably a few months ago, and I just never got around to doing it. But you know, as we continue to take this new direction and, you know, aspire to appreciate our collections a little bit more, I think it's important to just go in and look at what you have and look at like what's different, what's truly unique, because a lot of stuff that's coming out right now is not. I'm not talking about anything in particular. I'm just saying a lot of things that are coming out, you know, we see that we have them in some way, shape, or form. And I know that we will continue to duplicate things, but we can always do a better job at appreciating what we've got and adding, you know, just the special things. And that's, you know, that's what we are moving and looking towards doing. And it always feels good to be inspired. And I can say that all of the palettes that I mentioned today have done just that. So just wanted to show them some love. So thank you so much for taking out some of your time and hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed talking about eyeshadow or listening to me talk about eyeshadow. And I hope it inspires you to go in your collection and see what you have that's really unique and special. So I hope this was therapy for you, because it definitely was for me. So until I see you again, make sure you're being gentle with yourself, talk to yourself nice, stay safe, and I'll see y'all really soon. Bye.
Block your